Welcome everybody to the Reality or Not podcast with your boy Brian Clincy from Nothing New Under the Sun, and then your boy DJ Reality. How you doing today, Brian?
Hey, I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me, man. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just started a pot of greens before we got up in here, so hopefully they be done within the pressure cooker about time.
Collards, mustards, what you
collard? Nah, we don't do all that. We do collard. we don't do turnip. We do collard. And you know it's weird too. Like I went to this restaurant last Sunday, and I was like, okay, I'm really gonna try to understand the difference between the two because honestly, we ate whatever was damn near on our plate. But I tried, like I got some turnip greens, I got some collard greens. I was like, oh, this is why I stick with collard greens. I don't know what it was. It was seasoned the same way, but just the consistency and the taste of it was better on the collard.
What about mustards?
Bro, I haven't made no mustard greens in like a long time. They're probably the easiest to cook or the quickest to cook. But
what we talking about? We're gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna talk about like the stuff that we do on unemployment, right? So, the reason I bring up mustards is because I grew curly mustards, and like I had never I don't even really eat greens. I'm gonna be 100 with you, like the soul food in me, like it was my grandmother that did it to me. So my grandmother put lard in there, put fat back, like that was the salt of stuff that was in the basement, put fat back in there, and bacon grease. And I was like, yo, that's a lot of stuff. Like that. So
that is unhealthiness personified.
Right.
But it's weird. But you can't. That's how they were raised, and I bet you they were good too. But it's just like that. That's how
they was tender.
Listen. I remember. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but Aunt Rosie taught me how to make greens, and she told me, but I was making them the way I wanted to make. Put my own little spin on them. Yeah. So one time I was making some greens. I'm back in Muskegon, and I'm talking to Aunt Rosie on the phone, and I call her. I'm like, hey, I'm in town. I want to stop by, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, come on back, come on by the house and all that stuff. And then I was like, well, hey, I made some greens. Do you want any? She's like, yeah, bring some with you. But then she stopped me, like literally as we're talking on the phone. She's like, what kind of meat did you put in them? And I was like, oh, I put smoked turkey in them. And she's like, oh, Sean, I don't want those greens. I was like, but they already, I wasn't about to make greens ain't nothing where you can just be like, okay, you got to make a whole pot. There's no making a serving of greens with fat back and all this and ham hot, or not ham hot, but just, the pork and all that stuff.
You did the turkey shank? You did the turkey shanks? Or
I like to put smoked turkey tails in them. Just because they're more consistency or consistent, and they're a little bit fatter than the actual, smoked turkey legs or anything or I put necks in them too. But the only thing about the necks that get that could be exhausting is, I'll pick all of the bones out of them and scrape all the meat, so you ain't dealing with bones and stuff. But I like to smoke turkey tails just because it's like literally one bone and the rest just falls off into it. So then after I finish cooking, I pull the bone and everything out of it, and then just spread the meat throughout the meat. So.
You're pretty good at that then. See, so like part of my do with when I'm unemployed is I try to limit expenses, right? So my grandmother always had a garden. I think Grandma B had gardens too, right?
Yeah.
So like both my grandmas always had gardens, so I knew how to work it. I knew how to work it. So I grow some stuff. Like a lot of times I'm eating tomatoes and stuff. So I have like even here right now, I got some little beds that I grow tomatoes out of and cucumbers. Greens I can grow like no problem. But all of that to say is that when I'm unemployed, everything is on the table for me to get an opportunity to learn and do some stuff, right? And then I look at all my expenses, what I'm spending money on. Like I look at my budget, like, and I'm gonna tell people it's a good thing to have a budget because you can, even if you're not adhering to your budget, you can see where you're going over on different categories and stuff like that. So when I look, there's two ways to make more money. Make more money, reduce expenses, right? So a lot of times, like I'm going through my cell phone stuff too. I'm actually starting a cell phone company, so like that's going to be a big shout out for me. Like go to brianclincy.com/sell because I realize people paying a whole lot of money for stuff that they don't necessarily use.
Yeah, minimize it. Hey, look, these are the things that it's like for, and I'll let you keep going, but it's like something like Salesforce, right? Like you create a CRM, right? Within the CRM, Salesforce, I tell people all the time, like when you're within Salesforce, and this is like from me talking to companies and implementing Salesforce projects and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you're probably only going to use 5 to 10% of this, and you're paying. Salesforce is great. Like shout out to Salesforce, because Salesforce is so. Give a little breakdown. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, but Salesforce charges $75 to $125 per user per month, just depending on the package that you got. So when you got those packs, say for instance, you got, I don't know, 1,000 users or something like that. So essentially you're paying at least $75,000 a month to Salesforce just to be able to use their CRM, and you're only using 5 to 10% of it. I tell people like, well, look at Zoho, look at Sugar, look at Microsoft Dynamics, look at all of these other CRM. Microsoft Dynamics is crazy expensive too, but you look at because it's such a cutoff when you look at Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics, but then it's like the cost is like maybe $35 a user per month and all that stuff for the other CRMs. But I mean, bro, people don't know how to budget.
Yeah, and then you get used to a certain amount. Like so, like I cut down when I first got unemployed, I cut down my internet, right? And what the wildest thing is, it was like, yo, you work on the internet, you want to cut it down? Yo, I've never had a gig of internet anyway, right? So when I just went back down to my original 500, that's good enough. Like I can't really even get that far away from that. Like if like what most of the stuff that I have don't even use that much bandwidth. You know what I'm saying? So like now, how much money did I save? You talking $15 a month, and you like, dang, is it worth it? $15 for 1,000 for doubling? Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You know
just say that $15 and this is the part about budgeting. You take that $15 and you be like, okay, I'm gonna put this in the account and I'm not gonna touch it. So then you're talking $180 a month or $180 a year. You're talking $1,800 over 10 years. You're talking $3,600 over 20 years. It's like sometimes people are afraid to make the make the sacrifices just because it's so small. But in the grand scheme of things, you'd be like, oh, well, that $15, I'll put that, towards the traveling fund, for the year. So then this is what or even for me, I'm buying some shoes. I'm like, okay, cool. That's one free pair of shoes or whatever throughout the year. Or that's a bill,
one pay for shoes throughout the year, and don't buy it until you actually pay for it. Like that's the thing. I also I had 2 car notes because I was balling at the time and I could afford it.
Balling, my G, like 2 of them hoes.
Yeah, 2 and then So another thing I did.
If you have a life that you afford it, then go with it. I don't. I tell people spend their money how they want to spend it. They don't spend mine. So
I look at it at overall cost and what it costs me to get somewhere. I have an electric vehicle, and do I just want one electric vehicle, or do I want something else just in case that one is something going on with it? Yeah. So, and then having a vehicle back home in Michigan, so I don't have to ask nobody. So I can keep it.
Now you're not renting a car when you go back home. You can just pull up to your car and you good.
Yeah, and the added savings. You rent a car, and it's those little things that add up. So I keep looking at those little things and try to see if I can mitigate that cost or whatnot. But some people move back in with their parents. That's never been an option for me. I love my mama.
Never.
I want her to have the best life ever. And I think that if I came back home with a plan, I could be like, yo, that's awesome.
But you could be rich if you move back in with, well, it depends, because they go try to make you pay for something anyway. But but the thing is like, man, I've always said that if I was able to stay at home for 3 to 6 months, and still make the money that I'm making, or making the money that I've made in the past, then I would be in a whole different range. What do you call it? Not pay range, but
tax bracket.
tax bracket. Yeah, totally different tax bracket. Nigga, I was talking to my mom, and like my mortgage is around like $2,400 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Her mortgage is $400.
6 times, so you can pay that
$400 fucking dollars, bro. Like I can pay her mortgage, and I can pay my mortgage. You know,
pay a mortgage 6 months.
Yeah, and be all right.
One payment.
And, you know, so it's just, but like I said, it's a whole different tax bracket. Like I said, I can see myself within doing that, but just for the peace of mind, I would never do that shit. Like, I even consider, because my mom has 2 houses. I considered renting her house or renting the other house. But it was just the fact that I would have to go home and stay in my hometown for whatever period of time. And I was like, well, I mean, because like I said, I mean, if I paid, as an example for that one, if I paid, say, $800, I decided to double $800 a month for that place, I could still, you know, be all right compared to paying 3 times of what I'm paying right now, you know.
And see, and so like I understand that, and like they always say, Black people can't live together because, you know, like what happens. I know like the people that used to own Frontier or whatnot, they all lived in the same house, right? And they leased Frontier. Yeah, they leased Frontier first. Like they just rented it out. They leased it. They got enough money to buy it, then to buy another store, and then they were weaning people off as they buy another store. Like they bought Wood Street Market.
Damn.
You know what? They might have not even bought it. They might have only leased it and managed it or whatever. But like, I love when people can bring that togetherness to a point where you can say, hey, look, if we team up, we can do boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, like you my cousin. Like I told you, I would build a house on your mom's side lot. And I told her, I was like, look, if you really want to do something, we can add an in-law suite to your house right now, and then you could. So you basically splitting the top. You know what I'm saying? Like add the extra upstairs, and boom, you got it'll pay for itself, and it'll pay for itself in 5 years.
Yep. I thought about extending the house because it's just so, and that's one thing. That's one part of it too. Like going to that little like the conversation about the house. I talked with her about extending it, but I'm like, but she has her own thoughts on how she wants to do it, but the way that house is not built for me to move back into her house.
Yeah.
It's not even logical for me to be like, oh well, shoot, I got my room and blah blah blah. Like it's literally no space.
And you know what? The other part about going back home and like so, I always equated going back home as being a failure, because you couldn't make it out here in the real world or whatnot. Usually you had to come home and live with your. Even when I was back at home, I was like, yo, like this is bananas. I'm back where I started from, and like seeing like with that mentorship that I talked about, seeing the other side of Muskegon and seeing the development, seeing the growth, and seeing the stuff that you can actually create and bring people to Muskegon and do something. I was like, yo, I'm into that. But I gotta be trained for it first. I feel like I want to be LeBron and come back. When I come back home, start a school of choice. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to come back with that type of impact. I don't want to come back home and just be like, yeah, I'm back. I got a little business. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing about that is, it's hard. Like you said, you have a mentor that was able to show you that. The hard part is connecting A to B. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you're trying to, like, for what you saw is probably step M or N, like down the line. But a lot of people are, and like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like people don't want to go through those steps. I mean, it wasn't easy for you. I mean, of course, once you had the information, you ran with it, but figuring out those steps, a lot of people, not to say that they're unwilling to figure that out, but they don't know how to figure it out. So they don't know who to go to. So they don't expand and figure out, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to own specific property in Muskegon. That's one thing I never understood is when people claim like cities or streets and stuff like that, but they don't own no property on that land. Like who are you bigging this up for? Like you bigging, like I'm from Detroit. I'm from Atlanta. I'm like, but you don't own nothing in Atlanta. Like Atlanta, like you don't own nothing in Detroit. You don't own nothing in Chicago. But here you are claiming
not owning stuff. You don't even do stuff in Detroit. Like you ain't created a football program. You ain't added value to the next. I mean,
don't talk about my city. It was like, nigga, that ain't your. That's where you started. And that's where you kind of live. I mean, that's where you live, but that's not like the city. Make the city yours.
Yeah. And so again, I'm gonna roll this back to unemployment. Unemployment. I volunteer. I learn. Like a lot of times, I'm learning. Like I volunteer. Like especially when I'm seeing some money move or whatever. But there's 3 places I'm always go to look for the money. Right. One is making sure I go to those city hall meetings. Right. Those city hall meetings, and you don't even have to go. You can tune in now online. But those city hall meetings, you see how people propose things to do in the city. You see how people see what type of money that they moving in the city. You see, it's so many things that you could catch on to. Right. 2 is I follow people with money. Right. I see how they move.
That's how you get it.
It's easy as hell now. Like you can connect over social media. Like you can connect to Snoop and be like, Snoop, man, or Master P, how do you get these evaluations to where you can do an 80-20 deal, right? Like nobody ever did an 80-20 deal before. Like
that deal was crazy. And right? The funny part about that too is like people were, going against Master P and saying, oh, well, he should, like he putting too much music out at one time and blah, blah, blah. And I was watching this video with, I forgot the rapper name, one of the light-skinned twins. I can't remember their name. They was within this group, or they had like a group with it. Was they the twin? I can't remember the name, but they were talking about how with P, he was just like, we was recording damn near on a 24-hour basis. And we were recording, it's like any song could be on any album. That's why most of the songs had collaboration songs or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like, every album had a club joint. Every album had a Dead Homies joint. He said and I was like, damn, like I didn't realize like every single, and they were just recording around the clock. And then, even, as far as even sound quality, like people just like, man, just record it. Like, we don't care about it. Like, we got to churn this out real quick, just to, to get, I mean, because if you listen to that product, like within, and I don't want to deviate too much, but if you listen to that product, like it got better and better. Like the sound quality and everything got better and better. I mean, of course, like when you first listened to it, like it was just like, oh, like this, like, but people were liking it. So, but he was selling it out of his trunk and then turned around and resold it again through Priority. But it's just interesting to figure out. There's ways to figure out how to make money. And like I said, there's plenty of resources. Like even if you're unemployed and you don't know the next step, it's like, what are you doing to figure out the next step? I know for me, like whenever I had to deal with unemployment, my first thought was, okay, go to the gym in the morning, knock that out. Okay, what am I doing for 2 hours? Okay, 2 hours, I'm applying for jobs. I'm like literally looking at companies that I like, and then I'm looking at companies that would make sense for me financially. So it's always finding a balance between them two. And then I would try to have at least 1 to 3 interviews a week, so then I'll set those up throughout the week. And then I'll try to talk to recruiters as well. But it's the Master P model, like flood the market. Like, and then something's going to happen. If you hit on 2 to 5% of the opportunities that you're trying to capture, that's progress. You can apply for 100 jobs. You get interviews for 5 of them. You get the second interview for 2 of them. You move forward with 1 of them within the final interview. Hopefully you get it. It's just a numbers game.
So. I hate to like that's mad crazy because now they got agents applying for these jobs. And when I say agents, these
AI?
bots, now they call agents, and that's what's messing up the game, right? Because you got these people that's answering questions all bananas, like, and then so like it's crazy because
but use that to your benefit though. Like whenever I rerun my resume through ChatGPT, I I see questions, and then the thing is too, when I'm interviewing, if it's a question that stumped me, I'm like, okay, let me run that. I mean, take notes and stuff like that. See if that question, put that in chat GBT, say, what's the best way to answer this question? And then have that ready for the next time. You have to consistently get better when you're trying to figure out how to move on the next step, because the thing is, you have to convince somebody that you need to, you should work with them.
And then I'm gonna throw it back to my time too, because you do this by concentrating on the skills that you do have. So I don't have a savior. Nobody's gonna come save me and say, "Hey, I got you." You know what I'm saying? So for me, I always have to look for opportunities, and I know I'm good at certain stuff, right? So when I'm unemployed, I look at one-offs. I look at contract jobs. I'll be like, "Oh, they need somebody to do this." I hit them up and say, "Hey, look, I can do this. Like, like what we looking? You know, what's the budget looking like? You know what I'm saying?"
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that you don't just need a job, you need income, right? And finding your way to get income is like, there's all these niches, and like especially the new school stuff, because like y'all, I see people be like, y'all do medical supply driving, I do like Lyft. I feel like y'all can Lyft and Uber. I feel like sometimes y'all working backwards and y'all don't value y'all time. So,
bro, I never understood. Like, like? I remember somebody told me like my job is Uber, and I'm like, what? Like, you're literally using your car, you're burning and destroying your car on a daily basis to take somebody somewhere from what, like, and you're getting pennies on a dollar within this scenario. Like, it's just not I don't know. Like, I mean, do the Uber, do the Lyft, Uber Eats, all that stuff. But one thing I have a hard time with is people need to start looking for careers rather than jobs. And I say that as in, if I ask you what your career is, you say, well, I got this gig and da da da, and I'm doing this to get money. It's like, that's a gig. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. At one point in time, DJing was my job. Like, that was like from 2002 to like after graduation, 2002 to 2006, DJing was my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, when I still DJ now, but like DJing then, I was making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, that was literally my job, my career at that point in time. Only reason I had to shift the pivot from that was nigga didn't have health insurance. Like, nigga couldn't go to the dentist. Like, I had to pay out of pocket for that stuff. So I was like, okay, well, shoot, it's time to, figure out the next step on if I'm get my master's or MBA and stuff like that. So then that's when but the thing was, I was always working towards the next step. A lot of people get lost into these jobs. Don't get me wrong, you can have a job to be able to get things complete or to have an income, but you have to be conscious that if you're only looking at it for the time being, then you're only going to do it for that. I mean, I remember people would come up to me and it's like, hey, can you teach me how to DJ, da da da, so I can go DJ on my own? It was like, sure, whatever. Like, do this, and this, and then after that, go ahead. I mean, I know there's like one or two people that end up like continuing with DJing, but there's so many that was just like, they were just looking at it as a quick way to make money. So they didn't realize the investment, even from a DJ perspective, that I looked at that as a career. I didn't look at that as a strict job. Like, that was my way of making money. But it's just always interesting. Like, you have to take things serious, especially when you start getting older and stuff like that. You want to have some money available, because I mean, you mentioned this just a second ago. Like, outside of God, like, nigga, I don't have a savior. Like, I'm on a grind. Like, when I lose my job or if I'm not working, like, it's a countdown. And don't get me wrong, the countdown isn't as bad as it used to be. It's like, well, shoot, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent, but the countdown is to make sure that I don't burn through my savings and my 401ks and all that stuff when I'm not working. And it's just weird that sometimes people have like a safety net that, well, shoot, I can stay at my mom's house, or I can da da da. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having a safety net, but you still have to be as aggressive, or your hustle has to be as strong, even if it has to be as strong as if you don't have that safety net than as you do. Because as I said, I mean, I'm on a
wait. You reached a really good point. Your hustle have to be as strong because like what I think we take for granted is that it's like shit. We have to make something happen. There's no I tried. You know what I'm saying? Like these cats today be like, I tried. What you want me to do? That to me,
like I'm I feel like when I'm not working, I am 2 months away from being a bum outside on the like and not owning my home. Like that's how I feel like even if it's not that point, I react to that point. I react with a sense of urgency. I mean, I'm reacting smart and I'm not just doing things, and not thinking about them. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, it's grind mode. Like, and it's grind mode while I'm working too. But it's even more grind mode
it's a different grind mode. It's a grind mode that says, hey, look, I don't have it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta eat today. And like, so I've been out of,
I can't go out to eat for like a month, or I can't go out to eat. I can only go out to eat once a week, or I can't go out to eat, all of that stuff. Like it's literally like tunnel vision, shut down everything. I catch up with you.
I'm a little bit different because like the reason why I work so hard is to make sure that when I can do 6 months on my head. Like I got enough money saved up to where my lifestyle does not change 6 months. Yeah. Now I'm a little deeper than 6 months, but I got some other stuff working. So like I got a little bit of money working for me and investments and stuff like that. So like look,
in at one point in time you had enough income coming in where you was able to do that. Like a lot of people, in my opinion, don't have that. A lot of people are living check to check. I had to get off of living check to check. Dude, I'm in six figures and I still don't get me wrong. I mean, my money is good, but I had to get off the mentality of living check to check. Like, okay, I spend all my money and then, I pay, but the difference is I'm paying my bills and stuff like that. So even, I don't have to leave the house or I don't have to do all of these things and still be able to maintain a lifestyle just because I know income is flowing in. But, to not, have a specific salary, I couldn't imagine, bro. At one point in time, nigga, like I was living off $24,000 a year, and I don't know how I was doing, and this with a freaking college degree, and I'm like $24,000 a year is nothing. One point in time, I was at $38,000. I'm like, damn, shoot, I'm just able to pay the minimum,
But see, that's where I think that's where the heart is, right? So like I feel like I should be able to live off of $30,000. Right. So that's usually my goal of being like, yo, everything should be settled with $30,000. Everything on that plus. Now, when I got the extra car notes and stuff, I knew I was living in the plus on that. Right. But I was like, yo, I can pay everything off faster because I'm making more money. And like you said, you get intoxicated by those six figures and be like, yo, I can afford to do that. I can afford to do that. And then next thing you know, your checks is all wrapped up in what you could afford to do.
Yeah. Even I started a new job in February, right? And the pay scale, the payout switched from every 2 weeks, or for this job is once a month. That shit fucked me up because I'm used to, and this is just like, and it's weird because you looking at it like, well, I have all these auto pays and stuff like that on, but I'm of the ilk. I don't like to owe nobody nothing. I don't want nobody to say, hey, you owe me for this and da da da. So I pay things off in large chunks. So just imagine my first paycheck, I pay everybody off in large chunks, but then on a regular consistent schedule, I have these auto pays on, and then you get to the 15th, and you be like, oh shit, I still got to pay this. And I paid everything. And mind you, I wasn't working 2 months, for like almost 3 months before that. So now, is those auto pays are still set up. I'm still paying everybody in large chunks, but I still have these auto pays in the middle of the month.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, because I'm gonna save money, but at the same time, like I told you, I like to pay people off where I just don't owe you. So now in the middle of the month, I'm like, okay, where I'm gonna get this money?
So wait, let me ask you a question. With the auto pays in the middle of the month, So I pay all the bills that I can pay that don't charge extra 3% with a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
That way I'm making point money all year round. So sometimes I will like a large chunk of what I lived on last year was my point money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gathered I hadn't spent any of my point money and I just kept that. So because what you talking about is cash flow. You got the money, it's just not in the account at the time. You work for the money that's actually there. That's just cash flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, and this is kind of how my budget is and how I know what I run my budget. Everything is put on a card throughout the month, and then at the end of the month, I'm sorting through to say, okay, because I pay it all, but I know what I spent. They even categorize it for you right there too, right? Automotive, yeah, whatever. So like, yeah, so I don't do any auto pay out of my checking. I do too. There's the water bill because they don't.
Yeah, I mean, you do something because some of them like charge you an extra fee to be able to use a card. So like, say for the water bill automatically comes out of my account, or I have. But all my other ones, like you said, I mean, I do those for the points. So I mean, I have most of my bills come off of my, and that's one thing too. I started looking at flights because everybody, no, not flights, but airlines, is because everybody want to take a trip, everybody want to do that. So most of my credit cards, or 3 of my credit cards, are flights or airline credit cards, but I still pay them off, so I don't pay no interest on those. But then I'm gaining points. Then it's like, okay, cool. Well, I want to fly to Michigan in a month, so now I'm just going to use my Southwest points that I've accumulated, while paying bills and stuff like that, or even just sign it, because most of the time they give you some point. They give you like 50,000 points, something like that, to sign up for a credit card, whatever. And you can take that, use that for money, but as you said, I mean, I'm using those points. I'm using those cards to accumulate points to be able to use those to my benefits as well. And a lot of people don't understand that within the budget. It's like, well, don't have a credit card to just owe money. Like, don't pay them. And that's what, like, with unemployment and not having, the cash flow, income coming in, is that you can't get yourself in that credit card debt while you're unemployed. Like when I wasn't working, I didn't have, like, I had credit cards, but I didn't have huge debts that were unmanageable. I just took them, like, at that point in time, I was like, well, I want to have cash available, but pay the amount on a statement, so there's no interest accrued. Yeah. So, and then, now you're just paying extra money. You talking about 17 to 24%, or maybe even more. It's like, well, shit, like 20% on like $2,000. That's what, 20%. That's $400. So now you're paying an extra $400. I'm just saying, if it's that, hopefully your interest rate ain't that high on $2,000 credit card, but you're paying higher on the amount of debt that you have. It's like, no, pay that. And that's the difficult part too. People like tend to, and I do it as well. I'm not oblivious to this. Is that you want to hold on to the cash is you want cash is king. You want to have cash available.
But when you say that, when you say you do it as well, you've learned the balance, right? You've learned to say, okay, I've reason to say, if I do this, this is what's going to cost me in the long run. Now, I will tell you, yesterday I talked to a young lady who maxed out her credit cards because she was unemployment. And I said, that's like the triple whammy.
That is terrible.
Yeah, it's the triple.
And you can't even use the card. Like, it's like that's bad on all fronts. And then you still got to play catch up. So now, say if she got $1,000 card, she gonna end up spending like $2,500 trying to get that card back to $1,000.
Because they have over the limit fees, and they're gonna hit you with over the limit fees as soon as that bill go, right? You get to that $1,000, right? And this is what I want people to understand. They charge you the interest, and then that puts you over the limit. So you can't say, hey, how I go over this $1,000? Negro, it was the interest that you owe that puts you over the limit, and you didn't look at the terms and say, hey, they got a $45 over the limit charge. You know what I'm saying?
And plus the 40 for the late payment. So now you're talking like $100 a month or $85 a month, and then that shit is accruing because you ain't got no money to pay it. So like I said, you gonna end up spending $2,500 to $3,000 trying to pay that $1,000 credit card off.
Right. And if you look at the minimum payment, if you look at the minimum statement would be something like $25, right? But then it'd be like for 15 years. Like,
but look, it's the thing, right? So say for instance, I'll explain this part, and this is kind of like a money thing, right? So the most important part is to at least pay the minimum, even if it's not getting you nowhere. Because if you pay the minimum, you're not getting hit with the additional $40 fee. Like now, if you can pay more, then pay more. But at least pay the minimum so your cars are up to date and your credit is not being impacted. You want to have your credit in a good space where
your credit isn't being impacted, because your credit looks at the other part of that.
I'm talking about late payments, like no payments, like when you
the payment history part.
Yeah,
so your payment history part would be
90 days, 120 days, no pay. Like
so that part of your credit, that part of your credit report. So you got 5 areas of credit, right? You got your payment history, you have the payment, the amounts owed, right? And then you have amount owed to amount, like the credit ratio, right?
Your credit, yeah.
So your credit ratio is jacked up. So when people say they got 800 scores and they ain't got, like, it trips me out how some of these people think this stuff works. But your payment history, I think, is weighted like 33% of your credit report. So that's the one that you're talking about saving. But then when you owe as much as your credit card, the other credit cards see that and they start lowering your other limits.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like you have to be mindful of how this stuff works, because they looking at your credit often, especially if you mitigate it. Like I got credit cards with $17,000 and $34,000 on there, right? And so like they looking, because for those who don't know, always ask for increase. Keep asking for increases, because if you ask for an increase, like if I put $1,000 on an $18,000 card, that's 18%.
No, but look at it like this. Even with what you're saying, say for instance you owe. I'm gonna try to keep the math clean. Say for instance you have $3,000 used on a $10,000 credit card. You're at the 30%. They say the way to keep your credit or to increase your credit is to keep all of your credit cards below 30% as far as what you owe. So say for instance, 3,000 on 10,000, you get a credit limit increase. And that's, most of the time it ain't gonna be like nothing crazy, but I'm just gonna throw a crazy number just to keep the math even. You get a credit increase from 10,000 to 20,000. Now your credit usage is down to 15%. Even though you haven't paid anything on the card. Like, you have to be impactful of like your debt, right? Especially when you're unemployed, because your debt I was good just because I had money saved and money available. So I made sure that, I paid certain credit cards, or I paid my credit cards at what I can pay them. Or even we talked about this before, but doing a balance transfer to make sure that this debt isn't going to impact, your debt to income ratio. Because as an example, say for instance, I have a credit card, and I'll just say, I like the $10,000 number. Say I have a credit card, 10,000, right? I take, and the credit card is 10,000. I got it maxed out at 10,000. If I take that credit card, do a balance transfer to a card that has a higher limit, say it's, I don't know, say 20, or I'll say 20,000, just keep the mathing. So now you go from 100% credit card usage to 50% credit card usage on one card. Now you have one card that's 50% credit card usage or used, and then you have another card that's 100% not used. So now you have the opportunity to increase your credit numbers, because I really after I bought the house, honestly, my credit is good, but I care less about my credit report, because I have something that's tangible that I can use whenever I try to get more credit cards or try to get a loan or anything like that, which I'm totally against. I will not get a loan Unless it
Unless you can
has,
make more on that loan, right? So like,
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I would get a loan to potentially buy another house or buy another property, but I wouldn't get a loan for a car. That's just crazy to me. I mean, when you get a car, like, if the interest rate is maybe 5 to 10%, maybe, but if you're like getting a car loan and it's like 20-25%, it's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. Again, and that's the crazy part about it. Like before I moved down to Florida, before I moved down to Florida, I had payoff cars, right? I didn't have no notes. I was like, yo, I don't have no notes because I don't want that bill. But when I came down to Florida and I don't know people that work on cars, and it's harder to find good people to work on cars than finding somebody going to the dealership or whatever. I was like, yo, I need at least a solid car that I can, whenever I need to get down, I can zip on out of here and get back on to Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So that was the trade-off.
You got the safe, like the getaway car.
The getaway car. No, get the hell out of here. Zoom. Because
Funny.
hurricanes and all that. I would go straight to Atlanta, and like I don't want to have to worry about I don't want to be on the side of the road. Like I'm from Michigan. We don't have weather that. I guess if we got in a snowstorm and I ran off the road, I'd be pissed if I'm in the snow. Yeah, I never thought about that. But we ain't had that type of snow in a long time. Like for where you be in a car, yeah. But
it just comes down to, I mean, you talk about budget, understanding what you can't. Like, don't get me wrong, you can live a certain lifestyle. You can have a lifestyle, but you have to be because, like I said, I don't have any kids. I'm not married, so my budget is on me. So I can literally say, well, because I mean, I can be wasteful at times as far as food and stuff like that, or I can go out to eat too much. I'm like, I guess I told you I have a pot of greens cooking right now, and within that pot of greens, I am going to eat that for probably the next 3 days. I don't have to.
You can freeze.
Yeah, but that part too. Like, I don't have to, but at the same time, because I'm not going to eat the whole pot anyway, so I'm still going to end up freezing some. So, but all that being said, like going, I mean, not to be, totally cheap or some stuff like that, but shit, go buy a pound of or 2 pounds of hamburger meat and make you some spaghetti. Make spaghetti, eat that for the next few days.
The bottom line is sacrifice. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices, especially when the resources ain't coming in, or you're gonna have to create some more resources. And that's the way I look at it. When we talked about being unemployed and how I handle unemployment, when I am employed, I'm trying to buy assets. I'm trying to buy those things that I know I can make money off of. Those things that if I can sell, like if it get in a pinch, I can sell. I can sell my car in Michigan and not be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't love that thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I could sell
don't attach yourself to anything that you can't disconnect yourself within 30 seconds, right. Man.
I can sell one of my properties. While I'm unemployed, I'm also looking for opportunities. So like where I'm at in Davenport, Florida, there are no gyms in this proper area, right? And so I'm like, yo, I went to the warehouse. It's a big warehouse behind me. I went to the warehouse like, yo, I want to rent some space. I'm gonna lease a basketball court, and I'm gonna run that piece like it ain't never been ran. 24 hours a day is gonna be something going on. Pick a ball, something going on in that gym where I'm gonna make some money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's way too much money for me not to be touching it, right? Unemployment, I can write out the plans and figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what's dope about that? You're creating wealth, or you're creating income. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I feel like sometimes people don't know how to do that, or they don't explore that. And that's a dope thing. Like, there's so many ways. Like I said, from selling candy, from back in the day, like you've always knew how to create or generate. Well, not I want to say what, but you know how to make money. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it could be considered a wealthy thing, but you know how to, when times get hard, how do I keep money flowing in? And I think you're great at that, where you're going to have multiple streams. You don't have to depend on a job or anything like that, because a lot of times, I mean, the whole American way and stuff like that is like, well, get the job or get the degree, you get this job, blah blah blah. I didn't get a job straight out of college. I didn't, bro. I graduated in 2002. I didn't get a quote unquote career job until 2011. Where, and mind you, I was already DJing. So DJing made it easier for me to have I was able to create that income where, I mean, if I didn't have DJing, I would have found a corporate job. I would have found something, just because that's just my
that's
grind.
what I want to explore. What you talking about right now? I'm trying to big bro it now, right? So what, like you said, I've always been able to make money one way or the other. I found a way to make some money, have a party, make some money. But what I'm trying to do is, I'm not like, I'm done trading my time for money. You know what I'm saying? I am trying to with DJing, right? You DJ, you make your money DJing. Like, now it's time for you to build a team to DJs so you can book them and make money off of them. So you don't
Them
have to
niggas
do all
don't
the
want
work.
to commit, man.
Man, but what I'm saying,
so many times.
you build a system, run a DJ. I'm your DJ, man. And for the ones that do, you get work for it. You know what I'm saying?
So look at it like this. This goes back, and like I said, not that I'm opposed to it. And I mean, like I said, I've done this in the past, but this goes to the point of where I was saying that when early in the conversation we talked about getting to level N or level M. Most people struggle with understanding what it takes to get from A to B. They don't understand what it takes to get to level N. To, like, I would honestly like to teach people and then have them do it themselves. Like, have them make their own bag. Have them, just from a teaching perspective of how to get money, because it, not to say it comes easy for me, but hell, I mean, even when when I wasn't working, I was DJing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started focusing more on DJing while I'm still trying to make myself better within my career. While I wasn't working, I got like one other certification. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, let me improve myself over here, but still get money. You know what I'm saying? The way I know how to get money. But a lot of people don't understand how to, like, you have to invest in yourself. You have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with the experience that I had in the past to make my future better? Because sometimes, like, it's not an easy thing. The difficult part about it is you only see what's in front of you, right? So, like, you thinking, what I'm going to eat for lunch. You're not thinking, like, shoot, how am I going to eat for the next month? I automatically think, especially, from the, not working and stuff, I'm like, what am I going to do for my mortgage in month October? Because I know that this money is going to be gone. I might have to touch into the 401k. I may have to tap into this. I might have to sell some of my shoes. I might have to, my brain is always racing to figure out, to make sure that I'm set for the next time. I think sometimes people only see what's in front of them, rather than on how to build for the future.
Yeah. So then my next step is, because like I said, I talk to people all the time, and they act like it's something bestowed on me. It's not anything bestowed on me. It's just a practicality that, like, almost like 50 Cent. I gotta make it or die trying. And I don't understand I can't even understand the mindset of somebody saying, well, I tried and it didn't work.
50 is the ultimate grind.
Yeah.
I respect 50's hustle so much, because he was just like, hey, look, y'all don't fuck with me. Y'all pushed to the side. Y'all shot me and da-da-da. And he turned around and made a whole thing just strictly off the strength of him, which is dope. It's like, believe in yourself. What, like, the dope part about believing in yourself is that others start to believe in you as well, because they see what you're doing. They don't, like, you see, for me, like, for my grind, it was like, okay, well, I think I told you the list of things I have is get more DJing opportunities for 2025. Get 2 certifications for 2025. Make a milli for by 2020, or make half a milli by 2027 per year. Was it focus on love, like try to figure out that part of my life. It's all these things that I have written on my board to be like, okay, these are because when people see that you're focused and disciplined, either they're going to be a part of the process, or they're going to shy away, just because it's levels to this shit, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and add on to that. Wait, before you go, add on to that. Like when you doing yourself, like you doing a podcast, right? You either own it or off it. It don't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's one of them too.
You only want the people. If the energy that you, if people are not giving me the energy back, I'm not pouring it into them, right?
Yeah.
So if I see you grinding, I see you hustling, and I'm like, yo, like that's the type of energy I want, and I want people to understand this and know this, right? If there are people that you want to be like, start getting around them. You know what I'm saying? Because being around
the right rooms
and losers will only bring you down or make you top dog around losers. Yo, always try to be.
You have to protect your energy, and protecting that energy. This is one thing that I'm thinking you're going down this path. Be in the right rooms. Be with the people that you like. Okay, well, that person is doing this. I would like to do that as well. And the beautiful part about it is there's so many free options to be in. Like, I remember one time I was talking to this woman, and I'm PMP certified, project management professional, for those that don't know that. And it was a program. It's still around. It's a federal program called WIOA. WIOA. Look it up. It's free everywhere. They provide a service to people that's unemployed where you can get certified, and they pay for at least $10,000 of that. You can get more, but $10,000 is the baseline of what they'll pay for. I told this woman about this program. She was not, I want to say, because she probably, I don't know if she listens or not, but she was not in the best position, working. She was working, let's just say, a coffee company. And I was like, but you got a computer science degree. Like, why is this the thing? I was like, look at this program, see if it, because I got turned, this is when I was making $38,000 a year, and I got turned down for it. Because it was like it was salary based or no income. And I was like, look at this program. You could get the certification for free. Or you could get any of these certifications. You could choose whichever one. You could do PMP, you could do ITIL, you can do was it green or green belt, all like, or was it 6? What's the name of it? One of the certifications. Yeah. But she wouldn't do it. I was like, this is literally, so sometimes you can lead people to the water, but they just don't want to drink the water, or they don't see, as I mentioned before, they don't see the point A to point B, or the point B to point C. But then I'm never going to stop doing that, because there was 2 other people, my boy DJ and I can't think of his name right now. I'll think of it in a second. But they got the free certifications while they weren't working. PMP certified, did some other certs as well. Now they're working within their careers to be able to utilize those free services while they weren't working. You know what I'm saying? So it's always like the yin and the yang to it. I'll never quit. I mean, you mentioned the DJ thing. I'll still try to, build a group of people to do it. It's just always interesting that sometimes you could get discouraged. You're like, well, hey, look, I'm pouring this energy into you, and you're not utilizing the things that make sense. I'll give you another example. I have one.
Before you leave that, yeah. I want you to tell I want to tell you, put people to work first, and then you can see how much energy you need to put into it. So instead of you saying, hey, look, like I get you a gig or whatever. Like, yo, what can you build that puts them to work first, so you can see that they because what I've learned is that if they don't have nothing in the game, they can walk away scot free. But when you tell me like, hey man, put $100 down, and then like I put it, it's an application for $100, but then you guaranteed to make back at least $500 in the during the program. Then people be like, what? Okay, so you're not scared to invest 100 to make five?
But look at it like this. Second example. One of the dudes I was mentoring, or I'm still trying to work with to this day, when I wasn't working, I told him, because I got this cert, CSPO, Certified Scrum Product Owner. I was like, okay, well, if you sign up for this cert, open book cert, so technically you just Google the answer.
Googler. Yeah.
but I'm talking to him. I was like, well, this is what I do. And then like this is like I don't have no income coming in at the point in time, but I knew I'd be all right, and I had money saved. But I was like, I'll pay for half the cert if you go and get the cert. He went on and did it. He's certified Scrum product owner now. Like, so now how do you build? Like, okay, then I took him through through Salesforce and blah blah blah. Got him into some free programs. They even was going to pay to. They were going to they gave him a free voucher to be able to get Salesforce Administrator certified. So, so I'm saying like it works for some, but for the many, it could be a bit difficult. Like you said, I mean, make them invest in themselves in that scenario where, it's like, okay, well, shoot, I don't know you probably didn't even know what certified Scrum product. I mean, I explained it to him, but he didn't understand
that. Mr. Williams?
Huh?
Was that Mr. Williams?
Yep.
All right, that's what's up.
Yeah, so he's certified Scrum product owner.
And he on the cleaning company.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. So he's doing this thing. So it's just always interesting. Like it works for some, but not for others. But and you always got to protect your energy as well too. Trying to build into somebody, and what they're willing to invest and what they're not willing to invest.
Look, everybody ain't ready for adulthood. I'm gonna just